Welcome back, guys. Today we're continuing with a building project that will inevitably end with a manufacturing network that will produce andesite wafers, nuclear fuel rods, and phentanium fuel rods. Today we're building on planet Codos, where we'll be extracting H2O into a liquid container. The liquid container will then be connected to a greenhouse, which will feed solvent into a solid container. That solvent container will then be connected to an interlinked cargo landing pad that will eventually ship solvent to planet Grimsey. And of course, we'll construct an additional interlinked landing platform to ship in Helium-3 from planet Kreet. In case you'd like to see everything that brought the project to this point, links to the videos that will help you catch up will be placed at the bottom of this video. Just one other thing that I would like to give you heads up on. I will mention it again later, but you may want to do it at the very beginning. On this particular planet, we're going to need to 100% it in terms of scanning. So if you haven't scanned anything on this planet and you just want to go ahead and get it over with, I would suggest you do so. Now, you can do that by vehicle, because as you know, you can scan from the vehicle, or you can do it on foot. I did it blending a little bit of both, because to be honest with you, I like to do most of my exploration on foot. Now, with all of that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, to extract H2O, you don't necessarily need to be near a body of water. The extractors can actually extract water out of the ground. Now, I'm not going to build my outpost near a body of water. What I might do is come back later and build a home here next to a body of water. So look for that video in the future as well. Now, normally I would try to be a little bit careful about where I place my beacon. I would try to look around first to see where the resources are, so that I will also know where it's going to be a good place to build my structures. So we're going to be getting water from the ground, so it really doesn't matter. We'll be able to place these extractors most anywhere. So it really doesn't matter where I place my beacon. Also, I like to place my beacon near a structure so that it will be easy to find in case I ever want to interact with the beacon, because sometimes those beacons can get lost, especially if the outpost is a large outpost. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that the monitor I'm using right now is not the one I've been using, so this one's just kind of filling in. It kind of sucks for video games. The refresh rate really sucks, so just thought I'd mention that because you might be able to tell the difference, kind of wonder what's going on. So it's not going to be of the same quality that it's been in the past, but hopefully, you'll enjoy the video anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my beacon right over here. And you never know, one day you may actually want to delete the entire outpost. Now, I'm not going to do that here, but you never know. And also you can do a few additional things with the beacon as well. So it's just a good idea to have it where you can just easily find it. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my landing pad and call my ship to it, and then we're going to get some rest and bring in some daylight. It's a little bit dark. Now, as I stated earlier, I like to do a lot of my exploration on foot, but when I'm building an outpost, I like to keep my vehicle nearby. And the reason why is because when I'm building an outpost, I have a lot of resources on me, and so I'm always over encumbered. So I like to keep the vehicle around in case I want to travel some distance, because it's kind of a pain walking around with a lot of resources on you. And I like to keep as many resources as I can on me, so I don't need to go back and forth to the ship, and I don't need to go to the crafting table as often. So I like to just keep a lot of resources on me. Now you're going to end up having to go to that industrial workbench every now and then. Anyway, I have not built not one outpost and not had to go to an industrial workbench. Also, I like to just go ahead and build a camp. And the reason I like to do that is because, like this table, I'm going to put an infinite container on top of it, a little small one. And the reason why is because oftentimes right in the middle of building an outpost, the outpost will get attacked. Now, what happens when the outposts get attacked is if you're over encumbered, it's very difficult to defend the outpost. So I like to keep that container nearby so I can just dump everything I have into that container and then deal with any threat.
experience boredom. I excel in the performance of menial tasks.
Now, I'm trying to link up with a landing pad on Kreet, but I don't see one. So that could be because maybe I don't have an available landing pad on Kreet. So I'll have to go to Kreet and find out. Sometimes, for some strange reason, for example, I may go to Kreet and detect this particular landing pad on Codos. So I would have to hook it up from Kreet. Sometimes it works out like that. I don't know exactly why. Or like I said, I may not have an available platform on Kreet, but we will see because we're going to head there anyway and check it out.
Let us see what wonders of life this planet hosts.
Software update. Please do not attempt further conversation.
So this one is already connected to something. I believe this one might be available. I haven't really seen a craft land on it since I've been here. Yeah, there's nothing connected, and we do have Codos right here on the bottom, so we go ahead and hook that up, and then we get ready to head back.
Hydrocarbons in abundance. Let us see how they have arranged themselves. And always remember that this is your outgoing container, and this one over here will be your incoming container. So this one should have Helium 3, but just know this, sometimes the Helium 3 for some reason doesn't show in the container. So if you don't see it, find out some kind of way whether or not you're actually getting Helium 3. Go ahead and make the connections. Now you saw there that there is Helium 3 in there, but I'm just letting you know from experience, If you don't see it in there, especially if those crafts are departing and arriving, just go ahead and check it out anyway. Connect it and see if it's hooked up and see if it feeds Helium 3 where you need it to go. Then if it's not doing that, then you know it's really not there. Now these are the greenhouses. I think these things are awesome. These are the 3-unit greenhouses. It's one of the bigger ones. So you see here now I have H2O going into that container at the top, the liquid container, the one that's highlighted in blue. It's feeding H2O into the greenhouse. The greenhouse is feeding solvent into the containers, the solid containers that you see me building right now. And then of course I'm going to hook the solid containers up to the outgoing container on the platform to ship solvent to Grimsey. Now Grimsey is going to be where the main manufacturing plant, is going to be. That's where everything that we have done so far is going to end up being connected to, shipping resources there so that we can make a lot of money and get rich, man. Now you can see here it says requires scanning. So that means that on this planet I have more scanning to do. So at the head of this video, you remember I mentioned that. So I did that so that if you wanted to go ahead and get the scanning over with, so when you got to this point, you would not see this, you would be ready to go. So I already had like some of the scanning done on this planet, so I didn't really need to do a whole lot. If you're someone that doesn't like exploration and loves scanning, which I do, I love exploration, I love scanning, I love checking out the planets, I love checking out the plants, the wildlife, whatever. But I'm sorry, it's just something you're just gonna have to do if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna complete this project. So while I was out on patrol and not really patrol, just out scanning, I ran into some Ecliptics and decided to take them out from a distance. I was really kind of surprised to see them while I was out. Some planets that you're on, you kind of run into a lot of enemies. And though there are some locations here where obviously there are probably going to be some enemies, I didn't expect to see any patrolling out here. And they just seem to just be out here like on patrol. I really don't see a lot of ships landing here either. But I decided to go ahead and take them out from a distance.
Quiet. Did you hear that? There's no escape. Another victory. Well earned.
The funny thing is, when I arrived back to the outpost, I found my security robots just basically doing their job to the extreme. Now, I really don't like to be too aggressive against the wildlife on these planets if I don't have to. So Bethesda should set it so that you can set these robots to different settings.
Hostile targets.
I thought this was really funny, man. They were all over here firing up against this little fella right here, and it was like he was facing a firing squad, man. So as you can see here, we are ready to go. There is no longer a request to do some scanning, so we can go ahead and get everything moving. All right, guys, so we're just gonna do a quick walk around. So you can see we have the H2 extractors. We're getting power from the nuclear reactor right here. This is our main source of power. As you can see there, we also have some power coming from the windmills in the distance. I like to use those because they look great. I didn't necessarily need them. And you know, we have our 2 landing pads right here. And we're gonna go over here and see the setup that we have over here. Let's go ahead and start from the back end. Now, right there on top of the hill there, we have the large liquid containers, which has the H2O that I'm harvesting from the ground or extracting from the ground. Right here we have the greenhouse. This is the 3-unit greenhouse. They're awesome to me. I like the way they look. Look at that shadow right there. There's the got it going on now in here. this is where our solvent is going. So you have the H2O going into the greenhouse, and then the greenhouse is producing solvent. So let's go ahead and get a top view, see how everything is connected. You see, it look like might be having some issues, but I'll fix that later. I'm not going to worry about that for right now. Go ahead and get rid of this box too. I'm dragging this box around. So right here, we have the Helium-3 coming in on this pad, and I'm fueling this pad with the Helium-3 that's coming from Kreet. Okay, so this is where the solvent is. I have the solvent connected to the outgoing container for this pad. Now it's not being used yet. This is going to be used to send solvent to Grimsey later. So right now this pad is not being used. So that's how we're hooked up. Like I said, right now it's not being used. Not going to worry about it right now. I may add some more containers later on, maybe. I don't know. Probably going to end up adding some lights here too, which means I'm going to probably end up having to put some more power sources down here. I may just go with another nuclear reactor, but you can see here I have my H2O extractors out here. Damn, I already have a nuclear reactor. I had 2 of them. Wow. Okay. Maybe I won't go with another one. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But yeah, so that's what we have hooked up right now. So on the next video, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish this whole project off and go ahead and head to Grimsey, unless I come up with another idea. But anyway, man, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and if you can contribute to the conversation in the comment section, that will be appreciated as well. But hey guys, until next time, stay safe.